Quickly going through the agenda, we'll start with an update from Wildlife Watcher, then move on to project intros from Spyfish Aotearoa and Wild about AI. Okay, let's jump in. Quick refresher of the Wildlife Watcher objectives. We are building a smart camera with an appropriate triggering mechanism to capture cold-blooded creatures with good image quality to be able to tell the species apart, with an adequate battery life for long deployments and cost effectiveness for widespread use, as well as built-in AI for real-time species recognition and to provide timely data insights to users. Now, what have we been doing? We've introduced some team changes or improvements to make the volume of work more manageable. There are now 7 streams that we track the progress against, each with a lead in blue and a team assigned to it in light blue. And we have 2 new data ranges, Ken and Diogo, that work on the database. So welcome, guys. I don't think they're on the call. And we have Ash that's joining in the firmware team. So some very exciting changes. So let's start with the hardware and testing. The printed circuit boards, or PCBs, have been received by the members of the team and now are being tested. We have created a testing framework and a testing tracker just to keep track of different setup and scenarios that are being tested. Dev has also met with the Department of Conservation just to familiarize himself with the environment and better understand the user requirements like location or camera angles. Next slide. In terms of the data science and firmware, we are currently documenting the data science requirements, and you'll be able to read about them on our website soon. The team has also finalized the deployment folder structure and naming conventions that will enable us to store the images. You can see that on the left. Store the images and the deployment details as well that were entered via the mobile app. The team has built a simple annotation tool as well, which you can see on the right, to facilitate ingestion of the EXIF data, which is the data that holds the information about the image, for example, location, settings, or date. And we also got the interval timer running on WW500, which is our PCB, which enables us to, take pictures. And we also demonstrated the high resolution pictures capability. So we are well underway in terms of data science. Now moving on to the mobile app, the database, and connectivity. We had our amazing new data ranges reviewing the new database solution to make sure that it will work for us long term. And they have set up the database schema and completed the SQL migration, which means that we'll be able to start the work on the user interface for the mobile app soon. Also, now that the PCBs have been received by all the developers that needed them, the connection of the mobile app to WW500 board is being set up as well. In terms of the next steps, the team has commenced working on the user and role setup and the authentication flow. The deployment process, or DevOps, is also being defined to ensure close and efficient collaboration on the mobile app. And we'll continue with the testing of different scenarios and camera setups. There are quite a few to go through. And finally, we are planning to start the motion detection testing next month too. That's it from us. Very quick update because we have a packed agenda, but are there any questions for us? Is that clear? Perfect. I will pass on to Kalindi for the intro to Spyfish Aotearoa.
So welcome everybody to the presentation of the Spyfish project. Here on the right, you can see the video of one of the drops. So it's basically from when it falls from the boat and it drops on the bottom of the sea. And then the fish come because there's bait, so they can eat it. And this is how the surveys of marine reserves are done in New Zealand. So they have a few drop sites within marine reserves and a few drop sites around the marine reserves as testing as control sites. And so why is it important to know the health of the marine reserves? It's both to just have a baseline of what's happening and also to be able to take actionable like insights and decide or have power to uh, advocate for more marine reserves. But this process is very resource intensive, like in the sense of from when the drop happens, then rangers have to go and review every 10 seconds and find the max amount of fish in every 10 seconds and then review that data. And then from that data, get the reports. And because of the how intensive this process is, it can take sometimes also up to 2 years to get actually the reports out. So where we are coming in is basically streamlining this and standardizing and automating these steps to make this reporting faster and also freeing rangers time. And I love this video because you can see how many fish there are and how much work that is to basically count them and try to get yeah, and this is now again at the beginning and being dropped from the boat. And the camera is a GoPro. We can go to the next slide. And so the objective, basically one of the objectives is portrayed here in the picture. So that's just an image that we get from the camera, and then the one below is the fish that is detected. And as part of like all the other, I think that's objective 3 actually. And then the other objective, like 1, is basically standardizing the data entry. Because a lot of the times, like if you go in the field and write it on paper or in Excel sheets, it can be very, like mistakes happen, it can be messy, things get lost. But by creating apps or standardizing this, these things can get like there's less chance for mistakes. And also then there's the step of what to do with this data, where we can standardize, clean, and process the already existing data, and then also create workflows and for this data in the future. And currently the data we have has been reviewed by both experts and citizen scientists on the Zooniverse platform. And then, yeah, we will develop this machine learning model as it shown in the picture. And then all this data that comes out from the model will be used to have automated ways to get insights from this data to have timely reporting. Next slide. So the progress that has been done so far, one of them is also shown in the picture, which is instead of using the papers, now we can actually use these apps. And it's being tested currently in the field. So, and what we're doing at the moment is also making sure that these apps are robust. There's actually quite a lot of positive engagement with the citizen scientists on the Zooniverse platform. There are always people from all over the world just like detecting the pictures. So what happens on the Zooniverse platform actually is the videos are uploaded and then people can see 10-second videos and then make them select the fish on the videos. And there's maybe Jess, you can say something more later about this, about how there's actually people from all over the world working with this. We have actually a flow from the data to the insights that is already in action, and that Kali is working on that. And then we're also doing the standardization, migration, and cleaning of the data. And I guess this is where me and Victor are on a lot. And there's been a preliminary fish detection model experimentation. And there's a lot planned in the future because there's there is a collaboration with the experts, with the supercomputer Lumi in progress. Next slide. So I guess the next steps kind of fall into these three categories that I mentioned a little bit. One is on the input side, where we're ensuring just the app robustness in the field. So things like namings and everything works from being in the field and getting into the databases, and then the cleaning and migration into SharePoint and AWS, because as you can imagine, when things are saved on computers, they can be in very many forms and ways. And then the next step is the process, basically completing all the steps so that everything will be automated, both from video coming, like the data from the surveys, the video coming in, the annotations and the insights, and then that's the automation step, both from developing the machine learning itself, but also making sure that if the machine learning fails, all the backup routes that this can take. Yeah, next slide. So this is the team, and yeah, feel free to reach out to us for any questions or even chats. I think I have a few coffee chats that I still have to have. And the next slide actually is a moment for the team. Anyone wants to say something or share, or otherwise I have a question for you, for my team, that is, if no one unmutes by themselves.
Go for the question.
Yeah, the question is maybe like, what do you like a lot from working on this project? Like, is there some specific thing that you enjoy, or like a moment that was really meaningful? So I think there's at least Carl here. Maybe.
Carl, you want to go?
Yeah, I can give it a shot. So for me, it was exciting seeing the streamlining of the whole process and how manual it seemed when we heard about it, and then seeing outputs in a report that they could use and get more up-to-date data. That was it might not be exciting to other people, but that streamlining and efficiency to me is a really good, especially for doc. Yeah, just helping conservation and getting it done a lot quicker.
All right. For me, is the people also labeling fish and finding out what kind of fish we have in New Zealand, and they're from all over the world, and some of them are more experts than the locals. So yeah, that's been a great tool to have.
Pilar, you want to say something too? I'm not sure.
Okay, for me, it's a long time since I haven't worked in the project, to be honest. But for me, the most beautiful part and the one that I most like was to learn to distinguish the fish, because I was also labeling the images. Yeah, that was the part that I really enjoyed, to label the images.
Cute. That's sweet. I think that's all. I don't know if there's anyone else from our team here. But if you go to the next slide, I think there's I mean, it says questions, so the questions are incoming. But this kind of thing is the thing I like the most, which is you get all these like little moments from the sea that you can. There's like a eel fight going on here. And I don't necessarily get to see them, but I see it in the data, like people leave notes, and then we can try to find where there's fun things happening. So it's like a nice, when the data shows really beautiful things about the world. So yeah, thank you very much. And questions?
That was great. Thanks, Kalindi. I have one question. So this looks incredible, and it's obviously live and users are using it. What's some of the feedback that you've received from users? Have you received any feedback on this?
Victor, maybe you go with this. I guess like there's different types of different users. Maybe I mentioned this and then you talk about the feedback. I guess the main user is Doc, who does the surveys and reporting. So just making this process easier for them and streamlined is very like when I talk to Mon, she's so excited about the work we're doing. She's like, oh, this is so good. Or like when we manage to clean something or we make a these apps, right? They're now not many Excel sheets and papers and everything. So just seeing the way it makes her work easier. And then there's the rangers and the Zooniverse users as well. Maybe Victor, you have more insight there.
Same. When you see the rangers on the field using the GoPro, seems very, very like, oh, this is the way to go, and then they end up annotating things on paper, and it gets wet, and so it's been great to see how people are starting to use the tools already on the field and just helping them because everyone is in the same page. They just want to be as efficient as possible. It's been great to see that it is already having an impact. Charles.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I wonder if you have any thoughts at this stage on the machine identification of the fish. Looking at the video here, they're mostly viewed from the top. I guess a machine doesn't need to view the fish from the side, but I wonder what your thoughts are on that, and whether a second camera from the side might be useful, and also whether you think you can identify the fish from still images, or whether the motion video aspect would be useful for identification.
Just answering number one, having the fish looking from above is a bit of a different setup, because most of the models that are out there is from fish looking on the side, from usually divers that take photos of close-ups, also fish outside the water, so that a lot of work happening within the machine learning side of things for recognizing fish for mostly commercial purposes. So we cannot really leverage too much onto those models. So we have tested a few models that are out there, and our setup is slightly different. In terms of having a second camera, yes, it will help. But it will also add more complexity. So when you set up onto the field, having two cameras is going to be one more step. That will help with size estimation. So that's something that we are looking at, whether we can estimate the size of the fish only looking at one camera. With two is way easier. With one is also having its own challenges. It's all a trade-off at this point. They have 40 plus drops inside a marine reserve and 40 plus drops outside of a marine reserve. And there are 45-ish marine reserves in New Zealand. So that is a lot of drops. So anything that you add in terms of data collection, it can delay things farther down the track. So just trying to keep it simple. It's kind of like, that's finding that balance. Any other questions? Sorry, that I forgot. Charles.
Video, is the video a use, or are you doing still image analysis?
At the moment we're using the YOLO setup, so it's looking at frame by frame, there's options to get more information around the information that we get between frames, so that it helps identifying the species. We are focusing on key species, so just trying to reduce the complexity and just focusing on a couple of species first, kind of similar to what we do in the Wildlife Watcher, rather than try to have a model that identify all the species. So yeah.
Victor, and if I can ask a question, what about the black and white markings on the pole that is holding the feeder? Are they for a sort? Are they used to like a sort of a ruler, or just for visibility? Because I guess that you mentioned that if you added a second camera, it might make the size identification easier. But it seems like these markings are just perfect for this.
Sorry, one more time. Can you repeat the question?
Well, these markings on the pole holding the feeder, the black and white, are they for identifying the fish size or just for visibility?
Yeah, for identifying the fish size. The problem is that they are not at the same level, so when they are above or below, we cannot really use that as a size estimation. But yeah, we are still having that as a project of identifying the size or estimating the size for those that are at the same level as the 5 centimeters markers.
Thank you.
I have another quick one. So you mentioned that it used to take 2 years to get the reports that you need or the information that you need. What is the predicted, or maybe you've measured it already, the predicted time saver with this solution?
It does take the computers to process the footage almost on real time. So as long as the rangers collect the videos and then upload it straight onto the cloud, we will have the systems in place to process the footage in real time, and it will be a matter of days until you get the updated dashboards.
That's amazing. Oh, are there any more questions for Kalindi and Victor and the team? No? Oh, good. Let's move on to Wild about AI.
Thank you.
Tash, did you want me to keep sharing? Thanks, Kalindi. Did you want me to keep sharing? Yeah.
Yes, please. Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
my slides open. Yeah, that'd be great. Kia ora, everyone. So I have been working on the Wild About AI project, which is our educational program. We noticed that, it has been identified that the students coming through just need to have a really good connection to the environment, and it needs to be under, like, they need to see a purpose for something for them to be really engaged in it. And so if incorporating technology alongside the conservation projects would get that student engagement up. So last year, Portia and Victor worked on Wild About AI as a pilot program. That's my next slide, sorry, yeah.
Sorry, Josh, I think you're breaking up.
If while we wait, actually, I have questions for you, Carolina, about the project. I guess like similar questions to the ones for our project, which, like, in the sense of, what have you seen any, like, what kind of changes have you seen in the, like, the who are the users maybe, and how is that relationship going? And yeah, that's I guess my question.
Yeah, so currently we are working with Department of Conservation and some local communities that are interested in this technology. And right now it's just a conversation stage because we haven't actually got anything that we can deploy for them to test. The aim is to have that ready by the end of March, at least MVP 1, like we presented the use case last time. So the first use case we'll hopefully have the technology delivered by the end of March so we can deploy it in the field and get our partners to test it. But maybe I can get Victor to maybe talk a little bit more about the Weta project and what the users' feedback was on that, because we are basing our current technology on that.
Yeah, in terms of users, a lot of excitement. Long story short, yeah, it's a lot of excitement. Dave is also on the call, and he's been out on the field with the people and meeting the people on the ground, and there is really a big need for it. So talking about having lizards that we can test the cameras on, everyone is really keen and, offering help and support. So yeah, it's just a matter of time to get the devices to be able to continue testing them on the field.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kalindi. Tash, if you're ready, we can pass over to you.
So yeah, if you want to move to the next one. So really our objectives with the Wildlife.ai program is to encourage more students to be involved with conservation and really connect to their te tao, like the ocean and the land around them. And by bringing in the AI, we're hoping to engage them and get their enthusiasm with that. So that's pretty much our objectives in one sentence. Yeah. And it's also mainly to increase education around AI, just to try and demystify it a bit. I know that students, like teenagers or whatever, tend to embrace technology, but there's a lot of fear still around it, especially with teachers and older people. So by incorporating AI into conservation education, then I feel like we're kind of demystifying and educating everybody about it. Yeah, if that's right. Yeah. Oh, my phone's... Okay, so next slide, please. Right, then the timeline. So in 2023, Portia and Victor launched a pilot program within Taranaki and reached 250 intermediate age students. So for those that aren't from New Zealand, that's between 11 and 13 years old. It was mainly led by Portia. She was going into the schools and taking the program alongside Department of Conservation, and I'm not sure if you went through Victor or not, but yeah. So then I was hired last July to refine the program. Like, there was a huge success. The students were really engaged. So I've just been, since July last year, I've been refining the program. We're still basing it around Tapawai Marine Reserve and using the data from Spyfish Aotearoa to teach the kids how to use AI and machine learning. I've created the program to align it to the New Zealand curriculum, as well as being more teacher driven. Create the program so that teachers can effectively just pick it up and teach it. So we're hoping to get a lot more reach with various schools rather than the time intense that it would take for the Wildlife.ai people to go to do it. So we've got the refined pilot program comes out, and I'm trialing it in about 3 weeks, but we've got 5 schools doing it in April, And we're hoping from then on, from term 3, which is about the end of July, that more schools will be able to pick it up, and we're targeting about 500 students by this time next year, or middle of next year, which would be ideal. So within that program, but we're also wanting to develop further programs as well, maybe around Ngāhere, like the bush is another option rather than just the ocean or Moana. Okay, next slide, please. So I've pretty much, I've got 6 different lessons. They all cover different topics, I guess, around the different areas that we're wanting them to focus on. So they integrate Mātauranga Māori, which we felt is really important given that it's based in New Zealand. So we've got Mātauranga Māori, environmental conservation, Tapawai Marine Reserve, machine learning, and then our last lesson, lesson 6, is really for the students to have the opportunity to do project-based learning. So I've created 7 like mini projects that they can work on. So the next slide. Do we have time for me to go into them all, or are we running a bit behind?
Yes, no, we have 19 minutes. It's okay.
Oh, okay, that's all right. I was just concerned. So we've been working with Luna.me, which is a third-party delivery option. I've uploaded the whole program onto their site, and we're just ironing out a few little tweaks at the moment, but that way teachers and students will be able to log in and see the progress, and teachers will then be able to assess how students are going with the program. But lesson 1 is really just an introduction to AI. So students get the opportunity to interact with image effects, so creating images, ChatGPT, which is obviously words and stuff, and code.org, which is learning basic coding. It's just really building essential tech skills because all our students come with different background knowledges. So we're just trying to get them all up to the same level before we push them through. Lesson 2 is really focusing on the marine biodiversity in Aotearoa. So we're looking at kaitiakitanga, which is guardianship, and introduces the students to the diverse marine life that's in our waters, and also the threats that it faces and some of the conservation strategies that have been undertaken to protect the marine life. Just trying to establish some, we want the students to feel a connection to the Moana before we get them to try and do some of the work. Otherwise they'll be like, oh, why are we doing this? Yeah, it's all about engagement. Next page, please. Next slide, please. Oh, it did not go right. So lesson 3 is the students are investigate Te Tao, which is the natural world, through a Māori perspective. So they learn how AI supports wildlife, but they also learn about how AI supports wildlife conservation, and we're give them the opportunity to think about future opportunities, like how can things in the future support conservation. So there's a bit of a brainstorming opportunity there as well. So we're looking at more broader conservation projects rather than just Te Moana or the ocean. Because lesson 4 takes in Tapawai Marine Reserve. So we really go into looking at the cultural significance of it, participate as citizen scientists, so they get to use Spyfish Aotearoa, and they analyse the footage that has been uploaded. Yep, so the next slide. So lesson 5 is going into more machine learning. We use a program called Machine Learning for Kids, and they actually learn how to code the computer to recognise 2 different fish species based on their knowledge of from Spyfish Aotearoa. And then, yeah, lesson 6, there's 7 different projects. The students can work from designing conservation awareness campaigns to creating AI apps using Scratch. And yeah, just doing a bit of research. And then if we go to the next slide. Yeah, so what next? We're pretty much trying to promote the program at the moment. Victor and I go to community engagement opportunities. We have like conservation volunteer events, community information days, and I'm also presenting at some regional teacher hui's to try and get schools on board. So that's pretty much where we're at now. So we need your help. So we just need the word spread. So if you guys have a connection within the education sector, or if you know of someone who would be interesting, could you direct them to, I'm just in the process of updating the Wildlife.ai section of the web page. So direct them to the web page and just ask them to sign up for more information. But if you know of another way that we can promote or market the AI, Wildlife.ai, just let us know. That's me. Cool. Oh, give me a classroom full of kids. I'm Katie Pye. Give me a computer with adults, and I'm like, ah.
Are there any questions for Tash? Oh, Charles,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah, very interesting. Are you looking for other schools and educators to use the material you've already got, or are you looking for help in further developing the material?
We're really looking for schools to take on the material that we've got. I've got the pilot schools taking on the program to trial what I've developed already. So really wanting schools to take it on and spread the word. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, if you've got any other schools.
I have a friend who's an innovative educator. I will, if you provide some links to appropriate material, I'll get his comments. That'd be good.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. So I've just been working on the website this morning. Victor, do you think maybe we'd have the website up within the week? Oh,
sorry. Yes. 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 So the program, like the content is, Tash is still going out there and filming with the experts. Yesterday she was on the boat, so the content is still being developed. But the idea is to get a backlog of potential teachers that are interested on using the resources. We found that teachers like to prepare from a couple of terms ahead. So when we tell them like, oh, we have this resource, they're like, well, yeah, but for this year I have all the resources. I already built all the curriculum. So just getting people to know that we are building all this content and that it will be soon available for them so that they can prepare and organize themselves. But yeah, and also on that end, Tash, the videos and the content creation, I'm really excited about it, just to provide engaging video content for the students to watch and to still within a computer setup to be able to meet the experts and to be able to see what a biologist does, to be able to see how a conservation technologist used AI and so on. I think that would be crucial for them.
Yeah, so like Victor said, I went on the boats yesterday with Department of Conservation, and it was actually really cool, even for myself, to see how the data is collected with the GoPro, and we put the baited underwater camera down. So I'm just hoping to be able to share that inspiration, I guess, and excitement with the kids as well. Yeah, Ash, sorry. Yep, go for it. Oh, you're on mute still.
Are you all worldwide based, or are you just in New Zealand for this education?
At this stage,
I'm in Australia, so Just to give you a bit of background, the reason why I'm asking is this because we've got a massive park here that's about 100 years old. It's called Centennial Park, and they run programs for kids where they track fruit bats and flying foxes, fruit bats, and other birds in the park. I mean, I've done a lot of weeding in that park and stuff, and they've got a study area for kids. Kids come in there during the week, test the water and all that sort of stuff. I was involved in a project, but they canned it. So I don't know if you guys are doing that stuff in New Zealand as well. So you may want to reach out to those people as well, because that'll bring more people into the park, means more revenue. So it's beneficial to them and beneficial to the kids. So it's, you know, it's in their best interest to take this stuff on board.
Definitely. So
and you guys got so much areas of nature over there. You guys could go nuts with that. We've got National Parks and Wildlife Service here. You probably have something similar there in NZ. So you may want to reach out to them if they have these programs and get them to spread the word. You know, you give them a delivery mechanism and they'll take it for you and run, basically.
Yeah, absolutely, Ash. Thanks for that suggestion.
Oh, that's in Singapore.
So
Sorry.
We are. No, you're right. I do joke with Victor about world domination, so it will happen. But we just have to start small, and that's why we've started with Taranaki, because that's pretty much where I'm based, and we've got the and Victor also, so we can work with the teams that are already collecting the data. So that's why we're using Tapawai Marine Reserve, but hoping to be able to get into the Wildlife Watcher program a bit, and when they start getting some of the lizard footage, hopefully starting to train the computer, the machines to recognize lizards, and so that's where the ngahiri, like the bush, will come into it. Yeah, because exactly like you say, we're surrounded by so much of it here in New Zealand, and Taranaki especially. That
Well, I can reach out to the volunteer coordinator Dave and ask him if they're interested in something like that. You know, send him the sexy website link and stuff, and see if he wants to buy. You know, Victor can get on a call and give it a spiel, and see if anything happens.
That would be amazing, Ash. Definitely, and So
if you guys come over here, I can take you down to the park and show you the whole place. I'll paste that in the link. You guys can have a read about it and basically understand what they're about and come up with your spiel and get them on board. And that'll be his first step to world domination. You got to start across the pond and then you go out. All right, I'll shut up now.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Ash. No, that'll be amazing. Definitely flick through the link, and Victor and I can come up with some sort of connection with them. Thank you. Kalindi. Yeah. You're right.
Sorry. My question is, so when you talk to people about AI, usually people have very different perceptions of what it is, and they're almost surprised that something that you can use it for things like this, like
absolutely
nature or so, like the positive use of AI. And I guess I was wondering how this is with the kids. Like, do they also have the preconception of AI, and then when you have like this storyline?
Yeah, absolutely, they do. They often I link when I'm presenting or support, like teaching with the students, we bring in Snapchat, because that's the main thing that kids know about with AI. Is so we try and hook them in with the AI content they are familiar with, and then we're like, actually, this is AI as well, and everyone's surprised. So it's really about building the relationships and talking to so many people, as many people as you can, to tell them that there's good with AI as well as the like the fun side. But yeah, definitely keeping everyone, making them aware, because everyone is so surprised. I don't know, you guys probably find the same thing, that when you talk to people about what you do, it's like, really? Yeah, absolutely. So no, that's me. Oh, John. Kia ora, John.
Hello. This is John in London, on the other side of the world, as part of the global takeover in England. not London in Canada. I dropped something into the chat, and it was a link to a YouTube video.
Oh, yes.
What it is, it was what we used. I used to work with an organisation called Open UK, and we were promoting open source software and hardware in England. And if you kind of click on that link, you'll see it's a kind of just a kiddie cartoon to try and recruit youngsters into this project, this learning project that we did. And in the end, we recruited 3,000 youngsters just using these simple cartoons. So if you do want to recruit people, I suggest that works quite well. Just a simple cartoon to invite them in. And if you kind of stay on that cartoon on YouTube and just hang on, you'll go into all the lessons and you'll see what the course is all about.
Oh, that's amazing. Thanks. Yes, I've just opened the link. I'll check that out shortly after today. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, everybody.
I have a quick question. So those lessons that you provide, they're part of the extracurricular activities, or are they part of the curriculum?
They're part of the curriculum. So New Zealand's curriculum is actually really full. Our government just said that we need to be teaching in our reading, writing, and math, which anyway, I won't go into details. And so try and fit that in around PE and art and cultural studies, etc. So what I've done is pulled apart the New Zealand curriculum, found where it would cross-curricular with English, math, art, social sciences, etc. And so I've tried to make it so that the teachers are ticking all the boxes while still doing something really purposeful. Yeah, so it's the link to the New Zealand curriculum. Yeah.
Great. Are there any more questions for Tash or for any of us? No? Oh, good. We are on time. Yay. Thanks, everyone, for dialing in. Thanks, Tash and Kalindi. That was great project intro. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us on Slack, and we can organize separate offline calls. Or if any more ideas as well, throw our way. Tash has got a lot of material to work with now. But yeah, thank you so much for dialing in, and we'll see you at the next showcase or at the social event, which is in March. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.
Nice meeting
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone. Great to see you.